Garner. All right.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Peasant whiskey.
Sounds terrible. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. You're listening to episode number 64. This is a show where we like to talk about things like comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, and everyone's favorite, Star Trek. I am your host, Tactic Angel, and with me is Midget Radio, my murderous socialist friend.
Hello.
Hello, Midget Radio. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well, Tactic Angel. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
That's good.
I'm doing all right.
That's good to hear.
You don't think that Star Trek thing just flows in? It's going to come up.
I mean, of course it is. Of course it is. And it's honest. It just also makes me a little sad when I hear it.
I'm sure we'll talk about political discourse one day.
One day, many years in the future.
Hopefully it's sooner than that. But no political discourse today. First, we have to talk about whiskey. Are you drinking whiskey?
Yes. Thank God. I'm back on the bullet. Back on the bullet train. I love it so much. I love it so much.
I'm really happy for you. I am. This might be like 2 or 3 weeks in a row. I'm drinking the rare breed.
Oh, yeah. I do want to try that. That does sound pretty good.
It's good. You know, 116.8 proof.
Yeah.
It'll get it done.
That's a lot of proofs.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. But anyway, we are going to be trying to talk about one thing today. It is a movie. Peppermint. Peppermint is a movie starring Jennifer Garner. Jennifer Garner is in things that neither Midget Radio or I ever really have seen.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we sort of like her.
Yeah.
She plays Riley North. Riley North suffers a terrible loss of her entire family. And this is a movie about her quest for revenge. That's an action movie.
That's very accurate.
Midget Radio, without diluting this too much.
Sure.
How long do you think it's going to be before we bring up Death Wish?
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of similar elements. Actually. Which is kind of interesting because, I mean, this movie didn't really get a lot of the blowback I think that Death Wish got. Or maybe it did. I don't know. Who pays attention to the internet anymore? What smart individual even listens to anybody on the fucking internet anymore?
All of the people. Everybody's keyed into the Twitter. You got to know what's going on.
I remember when Death Wish came out, and that was like a big problem because there are guns in that movie. And there are guns in this movie. But I don't think it was as big a problem.
But Jennifer Garner is a woman, so.
Oh, maybe that's why. I wonder if it was like a demographical, because I guess Bruce Willis killed a lot more people of like varying races, you know, and she was like pretty on the money with, are you a Mexican? Here's a gun in your face.
She killed a couple of
definitely like if you're a man.
So yeah. That is interesting. I was a little bit, I did notice something. They said present day, and they said today is the 5-year anniversary of her family's death.
Yeah.
And they said that the year was 2017.
So
I think I get the sense that this was probably pushed back.
Wow. Okay.
Pushed back. But
maybe
probably no one knew about this because this isn't a remake of Peppermint from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like Death Wish.
Yeah.
Starring Bruce Willis, who's a persona non grata in a sense. There's a lot of reason why people would be more willing to go after that movie than maybe a movie that they.
I mean, this movie in particular, because they might not have even realized this movie existed.
That was
And
probably a big part of it.
from the title.
Certainly from the title, it would be hard to figure out what the hell it was about.
Yeah, very true.
It's like what it was.
Very true.
It's about candy.
Yeah, it's even within the movie itself, it's kind of like, oh, that's why. Not exactly like I don't know. Whatever. Not exactly a rosebud moment in the film. No,
but it definitely isn't. But Midget Radio, this is an action movie. I have heard this compared to several different things.
Yeah.
I would put it somewhere in the middle ground between The Punisher and Death Wish.
Yeah.
But I have heard other people compare it to John Wick.
Oh God, I guess. This movie's a lot less stylistic than the John Wick films are. So I don't know. I would differentiate it at least in that vein. I think it's a lot closer to. I mean, it is kind of a Punisher. It is probably closest to Death Wish though. Then it's closer to that than it is like anything else. I was thinking of Taken a little bit too, mostly because it's just one person who's like a badass, and they go out and they be a badass. Somebody fucked them over, you know. I mean, it's pretty. It's a pretty typical formula. So yeah, but I mean, I just watched it this morning. I actually enjoyed it pretty well for the most part. I thought it was like the plot was pretty much A to B. It didn't take, like I was worried, you know, that it was going to take a long fucking time to get to the action, to see the family's death, to go through the court scene and all of that crap. And that was actually handled, I think, pretty efficiently overall.
I didn't keep a stopwatch, but when I went into it, I thought, you know, if the gavel comes down and it's 30 minutes in, that's a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since I wasn't keeping a stopwatch and I know the time that my movie started, I looked down at my phone and I was like, shit, how many trailers were there? Oh no. Then like I tried to subtract it from the credits, and it's like, I think it was right around the 32-minute mark, which I'm going to give it a pass because you actually do get into some fun before that.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. It was nice that they put that in, like in the beginning of the movie a little bit. Yeah, it wasn't just, here's a happy, innocent family, and now we just
watch them prance around until
we kill them all, and then the fun starts. Yeah, I thought that was all actually really well handled. I mean, there is nobody in this movie aside from Jennifer Garner, really, and I still really like her. I think I don't know. It's kind of for as few movies as I've seen, especially with her in any kind of leading capacity. I don't know what it is about her, but I do just actually like her, and I liked her quite a bit in this movie.
I think probably the second biggest name that I saw was John Ortiz, and he plays Moises. Cop. He's the
partner guy, the older guy.
The partner guy, older guy.
Yeah, cop. He was. I think he played a character called Escalante in HBO's Luck, which is written by David Milch. That was a good role. So that's what I recognized him from. That was it.
He's been in a couple things. I think he was in Finest Hour, which is kind of a shit movie.
Okay.
That's the one about the boat where Captain Kirk goes out and he has to save the people on the boat.
Yeah.
It's maybe he's not called Captain Kirk in that one. Probably
might not be. Yeah.
Let's see. He's in Public Enemy. He's in some other stuff.
Jesus.
He's in Ransom. Shit.
Oh wow. Okay.
So anyway, I think he did a good job. I like that actor. When I see him, I think this is going to be a competent character.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, it actually doesn't have anybody.
No, it really doesn't. Yeah.
But You don't really need anybody.
No,
right?
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. In a movie like this, it's going to be basically your hero and your villain pretty much. And the villain in this was sufficiently an asshole. So, I mean, that works. It's really all he needed to do.
Without getting into like the mustache twirling or anything like that. And he did have quite the luxurious mustache.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Good facial hair. What did you think about the actress that played the FBI character?
You mean other than like what part of me is thinking?
I mean, other than the obvious, like,
like, wow, she's attractive.
Yeah, and that's great. I can appreciate that, but man,
honestly, she didn't stand out for me in any way other than the fact that she was very attractive.
Yeah.
I don't think that she did like a really terrible job.
Okay.
Like Monica Potter in Along Came a Spider.
Okay.
Do you know that I remember her name?
That's kind of an obscure Along Came a Spider. One of those like Ashley Judd, somebody murdered somebody movies, I think, but
it had what's his fuss?
Morgan Freeman, I think, is in that movie.
Morgan Freeman.
I don't even know why I know that. I'm not sure I ever even saw that movie, but
I can tell you this. Monica Potter does just such a terrible job in that movie.
Okay.
And part of the problem is she's acting opposite Morgan Freeman.
Well, sure.
And like that's probably difficult.
Yeah.
But she is just so bad that I remember her. I remember her and her performance, and as hot as she was in that movie, it did not distract me from just the not so great line delivery. I don't think that Annie Alonza did a bad job. I thought she was fine.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was very fine.
That's fair enough. I didn't think her performance was so bad it was distracting. I just thought it was bad. It's just I don't know if part of it's just like, I mean, she's delivering lines that we have literally heard in every movie with like an FBI agent in it, I
need cop stuff.
Exactly.
Go do the cop stuff for me.
I mean, exactly. So, I mean, there's nothing unique about this character. And you combine that with an actress who is herself not really doing anything unique. You get a pretty fucking boring performance, which I think is true also of the cop partner in the movie as well.
Carmichael?
Yeah, not Escalante. I don't remember the actor's name now, but the other
Ortiz.
Whatever his name is. Also not a very impressive performance there. But I mean, not so, like, again, this is an action movie, so I'm not like looking for these Oscar worthy fucking performances. They certainly don't detract from the movie. John Gallagher Jr. Yeah, Detective Stan Carmichael. Not a great performance. But
can I go a little bit off topic here?
Yeah.
What trailers appeared before your movie?
So I don't know. I had really low expectations for this movie, and I didn't want to see any trailers at all. So I showed up like 10 minutes late. And that is when the movie started, which was nice. So I did not see any trailers.
Okay. I swear to God, I show up and the trailers start. And usually with trailers, right, they kind of, if you see an action movie,
Sure.
they'll be like, would you like to see more action
Sure,
movies?
there's some discernible relationship, yeah.
If you see a Star Wars movie, they'll show you fantasy, they'll show you superhero,
Yeah.
they'll show you escapist
Disney.
stuff.
Everything that is Disney. All of the Disney. Because everything is Disney. But yeah.
I think in this one they showed me like a movie that's called something like Boy aside or boy lost or something like that.
Okay.
It's about a gay kid whose father
goes on a revenge spree.
Is no.
That would be amazing.
He's super religious. He can't accept his son as gay. And then he goes to like some camp, try to fix him or make him feel better about himself.
Oh, sweet. And then he goes on a revenge spree on the camp.
This isn't Deadpool 2.
God damn it.
No. And then he's like screaming about, I don't hate my father. And it's just like, okay.
Wow.
That's a weird thing to put before this. And then the next one, it's like, you're a lady and you can't be a lawyer because you're a lady.
Is it that Jennifer Lopez movie?
No.
Oh God, there's a different one now. I think the Jennifer Lopez movie is you're poor and you're a woman, and so you can't do stuff. And she's like, fuck that, I can do stuff. And then she does stuff. And that's probably how the end movie ends. They're like, oh my God, she did stuff. Credits.
No. No. And then they're like, what is your name, young lady? It's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And you're just like,
oh shit, that's awesome.
Great.
That's awesome. Sweet.
What kind of weird movie am I about to see?
I love it. It's going to be a hero movie about RBG. That sounds fun.
I hope that she goes on a murderous rampage.
That would be fucking awesome.
I think Felicity Jones is playing her.
Holy shit. Then you really would have the Notorious RBG. Pulls out a fucking gat. I'm getting on the Supreme Court one way or another, motherfuckers.
No. Oh, it's called On the Basis of Sex. I bet it's not going to be nearly as steamy as I would like a movie with Felicity Jones titled On the Basis of Sex to be.
That sounds like an RBG porn, man. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to guess that that's going to definitely show up on the internet somewhere. Supreme
that's
Court.
awesome.
Okay. Anyway. So I was a little bit worried. I'm
just thinking of taglines now for that. No justice, no robes. Awesome.
Okay, so going back to what we were talking about. So Peppermint starts. And Peppermint immediately gets off to a good start. People are making decisions.
Yes.
And good stuff. How did you like the action in this movie? How do you feel how do you feel it felt?
That is an interesting question. How do you feel?
What are your feelings on how you felt?
This is good
during
stuff.
the movie.
I thought there wasn't anything particularly interesting and nothing that really stood out in a lot of the choreography, I feel like. The stunt work there was nothing really special about it. There were a few things here and there that made me kind of fuck yeah, in my seat a little bit. It's not as stylized as something like John Wick or Atomic Blonde. So there, I don't know. Overall, I feel like a lot of the action sequences themselves, as far as delivery, were kind of just muted. That's sort of my feeling overall. Not that they were bad, but they were still good and it was fun to watch. But nothing crazy really.
Okay. I was surprised at the amount of slow motion in this movie.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was not a huge fan of that, but yeah, I did notice that too.
I was kind of excited.
Really?
I was a little bit, because I am not sure if there is any CG in this movie.
That building explosion, I'm pretty sure, but
yeah,
explosions,
okay.
Yeah.
That actually, yeah, and the establishing shot from outside.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so let's say that there is a remarkably small amount of CG in this movie.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
And so what I was seeing is we got slow motion, we've got practical effects.
Yeah.
I didn't see any obvious CG blood squibs.
Yeah, neither did I.
And honestly, like, there's a part, it is brutal. Like, there's some brutal stuff in this.
Yes, there is.
And it kind of reminded me of Sabotage a couple of years ago with Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Which we both saw, and which I think we could safely say kind of goes off the rails.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it just kind of gets like super too dark.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't the heroic, awesome violence that I want.
To be fun also, but
yeah. Fun violence, Arnold. Remember True Lies.
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was a little bit excited because I feel like this was very much like a 90s type attempt at a movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think this movie, I think the amount of practical effects that they included in the film, and as tight as they generally kept the plot line, this is definitely, this movie was done, I think, in the right vein, for sure. I wouldn't say it was anything like crazy or like stand out or exciting or amazing. It didn't like break a mold or anything, but it did what it was like trying to do. It's basically the direct opposite of a movie like fucking Mile 22 that doesn't know what it's exactly trying to do. It doesn't really seem to have a clear vision or anything like that. This movie was content to just kind of to just be a revenge plot. That's it. I mean, that's all it is. And to just run on the strength of that alone. It didn't go too it didn't get too crazy or too over the top or anything, which I really, really appreciate. I really thought this movie was going to be a piece of shit.
I didn't have much in the way of expectations.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm glad that the Blue Sky Giant told us to watch 8 Mile 22. So that I got the random trailer for this movie. Because other than that, I would not have known about this movie.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah.
So, yay. I bought the Tide Pods. I was happy they were delicious.
Good job.
Do you have anything else that you want to say before we give this some rating?
I don't think so. I'm ready to rate it.
All right. Midget Radio on the old school Netflix scale before it became just a giant dumpster fire of awful new content.
Yeah.
What would you give this movie?
I think I am going to go with a 3.5.
That is an excellent place to put it. I actually had to go back and I had to look at my review for Death Wish.
Okay.
Because this movie and Death Wish are very similar.
They are, yes. They really are.
This movie does not fuck around with trying to do anything political.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I do love it for that.
It's also a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you're missing is D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Who's great.
Yeah. Well, and I would say, like, for Death Wish, for me in particular, I feel like it gets pretty cartoonish at the end. And this movie doesn't do that. I don't feel that this movie gets, like, too absurd toward the end.
No, I don't think that it does. Actually, one thing I will say before I give stars is that this movie this is the one thing that didn't, well, there are two things that didn't remind me of 90s action movies.
Okay.
One I will talk about in the spoilers. The other I will say here. There are lots of setups for one-liners in this. And every time she doesn't take him.
Yeah.
But there is one time when there's a setup for it and she doesn't take it, and I feel like it's a pretty good, reasonably powerful line.
Yeah.
And I kind of like.
Yeah.
But other than that, I gave Death Wish 3 stars. I'm going to have to go with 3.5. This is a better movie start to finish than that, even though I do like both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, interestingly, I just pulled up the Rotten Tomatoes just to see if there is actually any difference. Interestingly enough, the critic score is like 14% for fucking Peppermint, and 17% for Death Wish. And of course, Peppermint's, I don't think Peppermint has as many reviews out as Death Wish would at this point.
I kind of feel like that's basically even.
Yeah.
Right?
The audience score for Death Wish is like 74, and the audience score for Peppermint is 82 so far.
Okay.
And of course, there's a huge difference in the numbers of rate. Like, there's like 7,000 people who, for some fucking reason, got on the internet to give their rating to Rotten Tomatoes. There are fucking 7,000 people who did that, and only 990 people who did that for Peppermint so far. People are all animals. But so I don't know what you want to really conclude from that. But yeah, I mean, I think Peppermint is a solidly better movie than Death Wish. Not that Death Wish is a bad movie, but this one is definitely better. I think has I don't know, just like a clearer sense of it just doesn't fuck around. It does it does exactly what an action movie is supposed to do. It doesn't fuck around. It doesn't try to make any sort of like political statement or anything. It's not dicking around. It's just Jennifer Garner had this family. They fucking got murdered, and she was like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna kill everybody who's responsible." And that's the plot. You know, that's perfect. That's elegant. It's pure.
It is.
It's fucking pure. So I mean, for that reason alone, you know, it's a better film. It's a I don't know, it's just a more solid film, I think.
It definitely leaves you a lot less room to be distracted.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not trying to do anything else.
We can get more into that in spoiler section. We're going to slap that spoiler tag up.
Oh, yeah. Spoilers. Okay.
We're going to continue with this idea, though.
Okay.
So what Death Wish does is they show you in strict chronological order Paul Kersey going from, sainted ER brain surgeon, whatever he is, to sainted ER brain surgeon who murders people on the side.
Yeah.
Now there are scenes in that movie that I really like more than any scene in this movie.
Okay.
Probably particularly when he just walks up and just wastes the drug dealer.
That was I don't know what to think about that scene, because I sort of wish that like they had lived in it a little bit more. I don't know. I just wish there was more of a payoff, because we get the story from the kid, right, that he rescues, and the kid tells him about this fucking drug dealer, the ice cream man, all that shit. That was cool. I don't know. I just wanted a little bit more like development there, but
yeah.
But and then at the same time, it's still that like it's that action movie bullshit. Who are you? Your last customer.
but it's also just the abruptness of that scene is kind of what makes it work.
Yeah, I agree. That's the
You know, he just pulls out the Mac 10.
Yeah.
You know, puts three 5 bullets in his chest.
Yeah.
Walks away.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then then they have the standard nobody saw nothing, which this movie also had that scene.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I gotta ask you, this movie and Death Wish actually just made me hate the fact that social media exists even more than I already do. Because like, it's not that it's inaccurate, it's just that it irritates the shit out of me that the news reports in both of these movies are practically fucking identical. Oh man, the online activity, like Twitter is a storm with opinions, and is he a vigilante or is he like a fucking criminal murderer and shit? And it just, god damn it. And then it's like they show like tweets from fictional assholes who have opinions and tweet them into the fucking universe, and we have to read them and like consider them. I just hate it. It actually, both of these movies just made me hate social media more, because it's like, what's interesting about it, I think maybe, is that like the story, it becomes less about what's actually happening, like less about this person who has like taken the law into their own hands. It becomes less about that and more about what fucking anuses think on the internet. Like, how do I summarize my opinion about this person in 127 characters or whatever the fuck it is?
It's like 280 now.
It just kills. It just fucking kills. It just, god damn it. It's just drivel. And I get it. I mean, of course, the movie has to pay attention to the fact that social media exists and fucking runs our goddamn lives practically at this point. But it just drives me insane. I don't know. Maybe I had kind of a psychotic reaction in the theater. Plus, I got plenty of bullet in me because, man, I'm just so happy to be back on the bullet. But
so I think that when you see the one of the things that did annoy me is when they go to the command center and he's like, well, people on the internet, and they show the thing and like the tweets.
Yeah.
This bothered me from like just a computer science point of view. And it's like the tweets are randomly appearing.
Oh, I know. They all pop up. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like, who coded that? Whenever you bring up a summary of Twitter views on a police computer.
Yeah.
They fucking just pop up.
Let me call random 2 times to get the XY.
Right?
Let me generate, the GUI and import the text in a random place on the screen, starting.
Well, you want to make it look good. You want to make it look cinematic, so that's what you're programming for. So
probably gonna need just a little bit of a drop shadow to make it look nice. Put that in front of the police radar. Super crime computer.
And make it overlapping so that you can't actually read all of the tweets, but you just get an idea of how many tweets there are, because that's how you communicate that cinematically.
The important thing is that there are lots of them, and if you can't read them, that's even more impactful, because that means there's more. So I think
it's stupid.
I think so. Like what you were talking about though is interesting, because it takes the movie away from a sense that, like, when we watch 90s, 80s classic action movies, the good guy is always the good guy.
Yeah.
Like, there is, like, okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator 2, the robot's trying to save John Connor.
Yeah.
Fucking obviously he's right.
Well, yeah, hell yeah.
You watch Nicolas Cage in The Rock. Yeah. Obviously we don't want everybody to die.
Yeah.
Like there's no moral ambiguity there.
No.
You're taking, in a way, the interjection of social media in there, in like this online unofficial opinion poll, like, lick your finger and hold it to the social media breeze to get, whatever your political stance is.
Yeah.
Is taking away the idea of an absolute right or wrong, and it's replacing it with the subjective right or wrong. And that is probably antithetical to a good action movie.
Well, and I think, I think you're onto something here, because while you were talking about that, what I was thinking what's kind of interesting about that is that like, so a movie like Death Wish that comes out in the 70s, you know, that raises the question as to whether Kersey is a vigilante and should be put away because he's breaking the law, or if he's a hero, like that kind of shit. Like that's something that I could think about, you know, that I could debate with myself on. But now, with the advent of social media, and when we see stories like that in these kind of movies and they want to comment on that, now it's not like, what do I think of that person? Now it's almost like, what do I think of this individual dipshit's fucking tweet about? Like, what do I think of other opinions about this actual question? It's like, it's created this kind of buffer between myself and the actual interesting question. Because especially with respect to Twitter, most of these opinions are just asinine. Like, they're just asinine because the illusion is that you can actually have a legitimate opinion on this kind of stuff and limit yourself to 127 characters. Like, that's the fucking illusion, that any of these opinions are even legitimate or even interesting or even worth thinking about, because generally they're not. And that's what's sort of frustrating about it, is that it's created this sort of weird buffer where I have a bunch of shallow fucking reactions to something that's actually going on in the world, and I'm being asked to think about those shallow reactions rather than the fucking thing that is actually going on in the world. And because I also have to reduce my fucking thoughts and feelings to so many characters that I can express in a kind of asshole, dipshit, thoughtless way to participate in the conversation. I don't know. It feels like a buffer to me.
I thought you were going to go more in the direction of, like, we know social media is fallible. I mean,
yeah,
ignoring the fact that the Russians probably own 60% of all Twitter accounts. But, well, the other 40% are the Chinese.
It's just Vladimir. Yeah, it's just Vladimir Putin. And oh my God, I can't even. Who is the
Xi Jinping?
Thank you, Jesus Christ. We have not talked about politics in a long time. Wow, that's embarrassing. Okay.
Well, that's why we say Star Trek.
Well, it'll be like, you know, a couple of years from, or many years from now, when we actually talk about it again, and we'll be the United States of China, and then we won't be allowed to talk about it, and then it will make more sense. Yeah.
I'm not giving up my guns if I had any. So anyway, what I thought you were going to do is kind of go down that alley, because like we're looking at this and it's like, well, Twitter's saying this. It's like, we know that Twitter is not representative of the average person.
So I think you and I know that. I'm not sure that. Does it feel like anyone else is actually aware? I don't know. This conversation, we're going to go completely off the rails, because there's so
many times that something just crazy happens and I show up at work and I'm just like, you know, whatever. And then like everyone at my lunch table, so it's like 8 people, is just like, this is fucking bullshit. People just need to calm down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I feel like those are the people who should be on the internet.
Yes,
first of all,
but they're not,
because
they're smart.
They've learned.
Yeah.
Well, they might be, but you see the evidence isn't there, because like, you know, if you see something and it triggers you, you type it all out.
Yeah.
The next step you're supposed to take is to look at what you've written.
Yes.
Then you hit Control A.
Yeah.
And delete.
Yep.
And move on.
I've had a productive therapeutic moment, and that's all it was. And yeah.
Like, that is probably the right way to respond to most people who are just like way too into something.
Yeah.
That said, those people aren't represented on Twitter.
No, God no.
It's just the angriest, whingiest.
Yes. Those are the
crybabyingest
fucking knee-jerk reactions. Yeah. The least self-aware. Yeah.
So, you know, they're competing for minor dopamine hits when somebody likes or
Yeah,
retweets
likes and retweet. Yeah.
fucking garbage. Like, oh, my life is worth living now.
Yep, I had a thing and it was retweeted, and so I should tweet more. And
as long as I continue to get this kind of reaction, I shouldn't kill myself.
that's right. That's why we should shut down Twitter. Oh my God. How many lives do you think we could end if we just shut down Twitter? That'd be the ultimate vigilante move. Somebody shut down Twitter. Next day, thousands of suicides. Probably hundreds.
Well, they did have
thousands.
Jack on. They did have Jack on Capitol Hill this week, so maybe that's step one.
I'm excited.
So I mean, like the angle that I thought you were going to take was like you're replacing, you know, the capital G good and the capital E evil with, you know, the subjective mealy mouth. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's not. What does the audience say?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that is a portion of it. That is that's what I mean by buffer.
Then you're also asking a verifiably not representative audience, and one that we know is just full of fucking shit.
Yeah.
So like that's probably why it doesn't deserve to be in a movie. In this one, they don't spend a lot of time on it, because I know in Death Wish
that's true.
They talk about it.
Yeah.
Then you have a couple of radio over talking montage shots. Like,
yeah,
it's just the one scene pretty much, and then kind of what did you think of at the end when she's using like the technology to call in, like, that's a dirty cop.
Yeah.
That's a drug lord.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's always part of me that's like surprised that like, wow, that's actually working. Like somehow you got into that phone in the first place. That's pretty good. That FBI agent must not have had much of a fucking security system. I guess she didn't have a fucking password or fingerprint or anything like that to get into her phone in the first place. And then two, man, the streaming quality, phenomenal. Good Lord. Like, you must be in a
she's downtown.
4G hotspot.
She's downtown.
Yeah,
she's in a low-lying area, so you got all of the towers above you.
That's great. Good for her. I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it well enough, and it's not a fault. Like, the social media aspect of this film, not at all a fault of the movie. Because, of course, it makes perfect sense to address that. And it's more of, in some ways, kind of an indictment of just society as it is today, and maybe just the news media as it is today, that like these are regular stories. I mean, that like the media itself will report on what is going on Twitter like it fucking matters, or what's happening on Facebook like it's at all representative of what the average American thinks. I mean, that's just where we live now. So I mean, it makes sense to put that in the film. It just makes me sad and kind of annoyed. But
this is actually something that I place a significant blame on our president.
Well, what are you gonna do?
But god damn it, all the people who report on him are so fucking stupid. It's like, the president on Twitter said this.
Yeah.
It's just like, who cares? Who
Well,
cares?
it's Twitter, man. I mean, that's what runs the fucking show now. Like, that's what drives the fucking narrative. Tactic Angel, and we already solved this. It drives the narrative because it sells Tide Pods. But that's all it is. But I mean, I liked that scene well enough to get to your actual question. I mean, I enjoyed that scene well enough that she's like, this asshole's a dirty cop. Fuck this guy. LAPD, this is where the party is. Like, I mean, I generally enjoyed that scene overall. It did kind of strike me. It's like, god damn, why does it take the LAPD so fucking long to get here? But
because they're the government,
right?
And
it is a poor fucking area too. So it's like, well, it's just a bunch of poor fucking Mexicans there. So fuck them. But
that seemed to be a pretty diverse group on Skid Row.
It did. Well, I think those. I don't know. I don't even
I think
remember.
there was like there's a black kid. There's a Mexican kid, and then like
shades of kids.
When Hottie Mick FBI Pants stopped that one guy, he was definitely.
That's true. That looked like a white dude. Yeah.
He was straight up white dude.
Yeah. It's a white dude. She was pretty hot. God, I love Bullet. But yeah, I liked that scene. I like this movie overall. I just like this movie. This movie didn't do anything too stupid. I don't want to. I feel like you were going to make a point. I was going to make a point about the twist that was totally unnecessary. But it's like forgivable. But I don't want to derail
It wasn't much of a twist.
It wasn't that bad. So the cop, right?
Because they were setting it up the whole time. It's like, it's totally the Mexican guy.
Yeah.
Moises is dirty.
Oh, wait.
And then it's like...
It's that other kid who's unrecognizable actor who's never been in anything before.
Carmichael.
Who's not really
his character's
very good,
name is Carmichael.
Yeah. He's the bad guy. I don't know what that added to the movie other than a third act. What the fuck? And then you just move for just more fuel on the fire for the fucking third act to resolve. But yeah.
It kind of, I don't know.
What was interesting about it is they didn't even really like dive into it from Jennifer Garner's perspective, right? Because she's just like, that guy is a fucking prick. And it's like, well, that's the dude who, like, he was the original detective and he was like portrayed in this kind of optimistic light and he wanted to get the bad guys. And she's just like, fuck that dude. Fine. And then the cartel guy kills him. I mean, there's no real resolution of that at all. It's just like, he's a fucking douchebag and he gets what he deserves. But there's nothing that's like, I don't know. There's nothing really, they just don't do anything really very interesting with that other than, holy fuck, he's a bad guy. You know, I didn't expect it. Like, that's.
So I think that kind of goes into, and this I think is related to like the one-liner thing. Like, there is a tint of realism in this movie.
There
that
is.
Isn't actually in a lot of our favorite movies.
Yes, I would agree.
So, like, in a sense, I feel like they're flirting just a little bit with the idea that Jennifer Garner's character Riley North is a little bit crazy.
They absolutely are. Yes.
And then, like, they're taking that seriously. They definitely took the murder of the family seriously.
Yes, and you get a little bit of her right, seeing her kid, in very like her kid after she's dead, like hallucinating a little bit. You do get a little bit of that. Yeah.
So like there's a little bit of interjection there, which kind of makes it make sense that there aren't one-liners in this.
Yeah.
And kind of like, the best moment for a one-liner would have been, the drug lord looks up at her and he says, "You're going to do way more time than I am."
Yeah.
And she says, and you're like, this is a one-liner moment.
Yeah.
But instead of that, she just says, "Neither of us are going to jail."
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's decision making.
Yeah, hell yeah it is. Fuck yes it is. Yeah. Hell yes it is. Yeah, I think the closest that we got, and I think it was actually like kind of artful in a way, because I really enjoyed the sort of one-linerness of it, but it wasn't like too over the top that it seemed sort of comical and cartoonish and like almost comic booky, But when she was talking to them on the walkie-talkie, right? And he's like, "Do you really think this is gonna, how do you think this is gonna end for you?" And she's like, "I'm gonna shoot you in the fucking face, and then I'm just gonna kind of wing it from there." Like, I sort of loved that moment a little bit, because that's the kind of like just fucking puffing out the chest badassery that you want to see in a sort of iconic, like a fucking Greek hero of an action figure. That's the kind of thing that I want to hear them say. "I'm going to shoot you right in your fucking face."
I know that Blue Sky Giant's into it.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to kind of wing it from there. Fuck you. Like, that was a great fuck you moment for for her, and I feel like it played really well. And it's like it's one of those things where it is kind of an action movie line, but it's not too over the top. That it takes you out of the film.
I didn't think that it clashed with the tone.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't think so either. I didn't think so either, and that's kind of what makes it artful in a way. Yeah, this was a good movie. I like Jennifer Garner.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either, but
because I mean, I try to think about the movies that I've seen her in, and it's like, well, she was in Daredevil, and that was a fucking disaster.
Oh my God. Yes. Jesus. Yes.
But other than that, it's like she was on Alias. That was a show that I always thought about maybe watching one day.
Yep. Same here. Never did. Because she had the red hair. I was like, wow, that's pretty hot. But, you know.
Did she?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
I remember the red hair. I remember thinking, that's pretty hot. But.
Nope.
What do you, I don't know. I feel like kind of, as we're talking about this, the movie kind of walks a little bit of a line between being like a stylistic, you know, action fucking film, and also being kind of like maybe a little bit more toward the realism, little, you know, not taking those sort of more romantic action movie moments. Because right, the way this film had been playing for the entire time, you're like, if the movie wants to be like gritty and realistic, what's going to happen? She's going to die at the end. Or she's going to fucking die. She's right, whether she fulfills her mission or not. I mean, the end result is she fucking dies. But I mean, clearly she makes it through the end of this film. It's such fucking sequel bait. It's ridiculous. So they're clearly, I think, trying to build at least something of a franchise out of this, which makes it, which crosses into the action movie bullshit, the romanticization, all of that. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm just asking, what do you feel about that at the end?
Okay, so I honestly think that the original script, she died.
Yeah, I bet so. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm going to guess that tested poorly with audiences.
Yeah. It would test poorly with me, goddammit. Yeah.
I kind of would have liked it if the performance at the grave wasn't so energetic.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, I don't want to see a realistic vengeance movie, because a realistic vengeance movie would be the hero dies probably way before they ever actually obtain any kind of vengeance, you know? I don't ever want to see that. These people are generally always mythological heroes at the end of the day. You can inject a little bit of realism into that, you know, up to a certain amount, but it's like, if they fucking die at the end, it just sucks. It just sucks. Like,
no, I disagree, and the reason why I do is because I've always loved tragedies, and and also I have played this D&D character.
Okay, this is a Dungeons and Dragons based.
No, okay, so there are several examples of this that work pretty well.
Yeah.
I'll just, the two that come to mind, one of which is vaguely D&D related. You'll recognize it. So Gladiator.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
He lives to see, like, he struggles through his injury. He lives to see his vengeance.
Yeah.
And then he has no reason to live,
right,
and he dies. If we were to go to like Legends of Lodos War or Record of Lodos War, you remember that. High school.
Jesus Christ. Good Lord. Yes. Yeah. Man, so that's a long time ago.
So there's a dwarf in that. His name is Gim.
Oh man, Pyrotess, right? Oh boy. Yes, Pyrotess.
So Gim is trying to get this lady back, and she's got the tiara on that controls her mind. And he just takes an inordinate amount of magical damage. And then he chucks his axe and he knocks, of all things, this is a crazy fucking idea if you talk about character motivation, but it's about heroic fantasy. He knocks the circlet off of her head, releasing her from the thing, and dies.
Yeah.
And like there's a beautiful sort of mind over matter thing there. That like people are capable of such powerful well, in this case, hopefully good, but such powerful motivation that they can surpass what you would assume is their physical limitation. And then once they have that fulfillment, then there's actually nothing that's keeping them alive other than their own will.
Yeah.
With the will satisfied, they then die.
Yeah.
So like if Jennifer Garner had like laid down next to the grave, and rather than being like, "Why won't you let me die?" and just like just said like quietly to John Ortiz, just give me a moment.
Yeah.
And then he just like sits there, and then he realizes something has changed about this.
Yeah.
And touches her and is like, "Oh shit." Like, I think that could have been like a really great scene.
Yeah, okay.
And
okay, I can see that.
And like something like that, I would have been 100% into. That said, taking her to the hospital and like I knew like it's so fucking obvious when he's like, "Everybody at the police force."
Oh yeah, totally.
Is with you, and holds their hand.
Yeah.
Like,
he's letting her go. Yeah, that was obvious as hell.
He gave her the key.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if he had unlocked it or just given her the key. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And like, would I watch a Peppermint 2? Absolutely.
Yep, same here. Absolutely, for sure. And yeah, I don't know. I guess this is just sort of an interesting like intersection of where, I don't know. It's just a weird intersection of where like the sort of fantasy level action movie stuff comes into play, and where it clashes with the more like realistic stuff. Because like it's nice to see Jennifer Garner, right, take damage. She's got a limp. She has to fucking deal with the fact that she's been stabbed in the abdomen, you know. It's nice to see that kind of, yeah, exactly. Like it's nice to see that has had an effect on her and that she has to actually fucking deal with that. But then at the same time, you have to balance that with the sort of expectation or the want that she is in some sense immortal. As many, you know, as action heroes often are, that they can take all of this fucking damage, that they can deal with all of this shit and still stand back up. So I feel like what's particularly remarkable about this film is that I feel like it actually does walk that line pretty reasonably. That it manages not to seem too cartoonish, as to just sort of be irrelevant, which I think Death Wish falls into toward the end. But then at the same time retain a sense of realism that like I'm actually concerned a little bit about like what happens to her, you know, and where the film goes from there. So I don't know. I think it's a delicate balance at the end of the day. I think it's really extraordinarily hard to define. And I think that that's what makes, you know, films that manage to walk that line effectively deserve a lot of accolades, deserve a lot of praise to be able to do so. Because as I was watching this film, I knew like I was going to be really pissed off if she died at the end of it. I understand that would have made it like that would have been the poetic choice, right? But it would have pissed me off because of the fact that it would have been the poetic choice, and I want to see her as a sort of immortal hero, as a kind of fucking Achilles, as a kind of Greek goddamn hero at the end of the day. That's just what I wanted to see. And so I'm extraordinarily glad that she survived through the end of the film. And yeah, if there is a Peppermint 2, I absolutely will watch that movie. Absolutely. I hope there is one. It probably won't be very good, but I absolutely want to watch it regardless. So it'll probably be 2.5 hours long. You'll be like, why? Why is it 2.5 hours long? Well, because the first one did well enough, and I guess we don't think that any idea is too bad, so we just throw everything on the fucking screen, and it'll be mediocre. And that'll be fine. I'd prefer that to nothing, for sure. So...
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you and I are clearly coming at this from slightly different places. Like, well, I mean, I think kind of I want my character to be a Greek god is probably part of the reason that people get into a lot of trouble with suspension of disbelief issues.
Okay.
Right? It's like, look at all this wacky stuff that just happens to save our character.
Yeah.
And like that starts to become almost indistinguishable from Deus Ex Machina, except for the fact that it's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at least if a god had come down and said, Peppermint, I save you.
Yeah.
And then you would be like, okay, it's, Jesus, great. Okay. I guess that's a little bit more realistic than watching any of the prequels or X-Men Apocalypse and all this other nonsense where you're like, well, that guy's dead. No, he's not. He's not dead.
Yeah.
Not even, barely even injured. He's not even limping. Right?
Yeah.
So, like, I kind of like the human. I like my people to be human, but I like them to be more human than human.
Okay.
Rob Zombie style.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like, they just have to be
style, but
well, it is metal. They need to be metal, but they also need to be human.
yeah.
Plus, there's like the first 10 seconds of that, which is like embarrassing if you're listening to it on the radio.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, gotta roll the windows up.
Right. Then you want to burn through the witches and dig through the ditches and all that shit. But
That's Dragula.
oh. Okay.
Is it? I think More Human Than Human's the one starting with the woman who's just.
Oh yeah, she's like, yeah. That's my impression of a woman orgasming.
Bader Ginsburg.
It may have been.
Probably was. She's such a whore.
She is justice. A whore for justice.
Oh,
I love this episode.
So, one other thing that came to my mind while you were talking was the delicate line, and I think that you are correct. And in the last week, I listened to one of my favorite episodes of this extremely well done podcast.
Okay.
The only one that you hosted.
I mean, there are so many great ones, but
the only one that you hosted. So that was the Beauty and the Beast episode.
I think it did a fantastic job. Yeah.
And you look at like Beauty and the Beast, the difference between all of the plot elements being there and all of the plot elements being there, plus some other shit.
Yeah.
And how it can completely, like the subtlety of having like the Enchantress there the entire time changes the nature of the plot.
Yes. Yeah.
Or like if you watch Terminator 2, maybe the best action movie that has ever been made.
Yeah.
If not, it's definitely meddling.
A strong contender. Yeah.
And then you watch the director's cut.
And it is a disaster.
and it is watchable, but it is not.
Oh, God,
it is hard to. It is hard to figure how much better it is than your average sci-fi.
I honestly
channel.
like it's offensive to me the fact that that even exists. Like, yeah, man, like if James Cameron was in front of me, son of a bitch.
You just have to. I mean, you shouldn't get mad about it. You should just laugh in his face.
I should just be like, listen, you do the stuff behind the camera. That's it. You just record the images, you son of a bitch. And then you let somebody else put the movie together.
Yeah.
You fucking asshole. But
yeah.
what would a studio cut of Avatar look like? Maybe it would actually be a good movie, but
I don't know how much. Well, he probably had a ton. Like he probably had Titanic levels.
He has too much authority. He has way too much authority. Way too much
He
authority.
needs somebody like me to you to tell you that you're a fucking idiot.
You fuck face. Yeah.
Hey, Midget Radio, I like your movie, except that it sucks.
Whatever. The Hunter is like the greatest movie ever made, according to at least one person on the internet. We just haven't found that person yet, but yeah.
I don't want to. It's probably not safe.
Anyway.
But like I do agree. This movie does kind of walk the line between trying to be somewhat realistic and then also being also the 90s action movie that we all want it to be.
Yeah, it really does.
We all, just you and me.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah.
I actually kind of really liked I didn't understand the movie poster, right? So the movie poster is just Jennifer Garner there and she's got the angel wings. You're just like, I don't understand.
Yeah. They don't really dive into that very much, but yeah.
But it's just the painting on the wall.
Yeah, that's it. And it's like, you basically just assume that, right? I mean, the movie just assumes that like she showed up in Los Angeles 3 months ago. She picked Skid Row, I guess, to sort of set up her home base. And Skid Row, as a result, became a safer place. And so this sort of this mythology that this angel has descended upon Skid Row developed basically 3 months ago. That's kind of how the film fucking works, but that's it. I mean, you don't really get any,
but you do
sense
get a
of
little
that.
bit of it.
You do get a little tiny of that. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
You get, okay, so the kid on the bus with the drunken father.
Right.
And like, I actually kind of really like that scene.
I did too, actually. Yeah.
Walks in, starts beating the shit out of the guy.
Yeah.
Open your mouth.
Yes.
Give me your wallet. I know where you live. You're going to treat your kid right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that is exactly what they mean by like the maternal instinct is also just a terrible monster if it's taken too far. And it's beautiful.
It is. It fucking is. Yeah.
And that little scene, which doesn't serve any other point, does inform that sense that like when she sees something bad happen on Skid Row, she does something about it.
She handles it. And I thought it was even more subtly rendered in somebody threw like a coat or something like that on the road. And remember there was a scene where there were like two homeless people. One homeless person got to that coat before the other homeless person, and he was just like, hey, fuck it. You take it.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's a sense you get just from that scene alone that there's a sense of kind of governance about this street. There's just like, there's a sense of order that has somehow been implemented on just this fucking street. And that was cool. Like, I actually really enjoyed, like, that's pretty subtle. And I like that there's a sense of order that's conveyed in that.
Well, you don't actually realize it until later.
And you don't. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
And actually the one thing that I did kind of appreciate about the little twist at it was that at the beginning, actually there are a couple things I want to say about the beginning.
Okay.
Because you kind of expect that the husband's going to do the wrong thing.
Yeah,
and
you do.
And this is probably just because we've seen too much fucking bullshit man-hating media over the last 10 or 20 years. So you kind of expect that after like this like really just soul-crushing experience of having no one show up at your birthday party.
Yeah.
That he's going to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
He walks outside, he dials him up, and he says, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the opposite of what you expect. And it's sort of beautiful because what he's doing is he's saying, like, my family is more important than anything.
Yeah.
And like that's great. And it kind of subverts the expectations. Now I'm going to move forward a little bit to that guy getting killed.
Yeah.
So he gets gunned down, and you see him like try to take his daughter and shield her, which is also fucking great and exactly what you would expect.
Yeah.
And which is both laudable and shouldn't have to be mentioned at the same time.
Yeah.
And then shit. What was I talking about? No, so Carmichael shows up at the crime scene, and he's looking down, and there's this dead child in front of her.
Yeah.
And like you first see it and you're just like, it's a cop that's shocked by just how whatever. And it's,
Yeah.
But then when you go back and think about it, he's feeling bad about what he's done because he is responsible for that kid being dead.
I guess so. Maybe.
And like,
yeah, that's a reasonable enough interpretation. That actor didn't convey any of that.
I mean, the dialogue told you what was supposed to be happening,
Yeah.
even if the performance wasn't spot on.
Yeah. Well, it's designed to set up a fucking twist at the end of the movie, but that's a fair enough interpretation. What you're telling me is fair enough, but yeah.
Okay, think of the number of times that we've watched a movie recently, and there's a twist, and you're like, all right, well, that doesn't make
Whatever.
any fucking sense.
Yeah.
He's not a double agent.
He's a triple agent. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
fucking cares?
how many times have we seen?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. Tactic Angel, I love the interpretation. I certainly didn't have it. It just felt mechanical to me. But I love it. I fucking love it.
There's a certain amount, like, okay, so subverting expectations is something that we all kind of want to have happen in a movie, and which happens all too frequently to disastrous effect.
Yeah. It's just if that's really his problem with it, it's like, why the fuck are you involved in the goddamn Mexican drug cartel in the first place?
But then
you
he's
don't
like,
know, this is a surprise. Oh, this is a surprise. They kill fucking kids. What a shocker. Like, what the fuck? You're an idiot. Like, of course
there's that.
Of course they're gonna do that shit, you son of a bitch. I don't feel bad for you just now realizing that. Like, you're an asshole. You're either an idiot or an asshole, or you're both, you know. And it seems like he's both. But
then he in the interim develops a drinking problem. He probably hates himself. He doesn't dress as well as he used to.
Sure.
and like I kind of get it.
Okay.
And I think that kind of plays into maybe a little bit of the realism, but then at the same time, I'm happy that he got his due.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he definitely deserved to be killed, and
so unceremonially too, as well. Like, just fuck you, you screwed, and it's like he didn't. Like, he got killed for something he didn't actually do, which makes it even better because the cartel head is a piece of shit, right? He's a fucking asshole, and will just act on the first thing that he deduces, and the cops show up, right? And he's a cop. So the cops must have showed up because he's a fucking cop. You betrayed me. Fuck you. You're dead. You know, it's shallow. It's stupid. Yeah.
He's 100% id. He's just an animal.
Yeah.
And like, I get it. I like that. And the unceremonious Tasha Yarian death.
Exactly. Yeah.
That he gets.
Yeah.
And hopefully that Michael Burnham will also get.
Oh man. Episode 1, I hope. But yeah.
Oh, straight up tar monster. No more Michael Burnham. That would be so great. Anyway. So like I get it. I feel like unlike other movies, which a lot of times are produced with larger budget and have significantly more complicated plots.
Yeah.
I don't feel like in this case it was cheating. Like there's not a point where you would look back and be like, yeah.
No. Yeah, I would agree. Nothing felt really cheap in this film. I honestly, like, I am actually really surprised at like how overall like pretty decent this movie was. Yeah, it really is. It really is kind of surprising. I mean, so just with respect to the more like shallow elements of the film, the choreography and such. I mean, there wasn't anything truly remarkable here. There were some things that I did kind of love, just in some of the action sequences. There were a lot. Did you notice this film had like quite a lot of like point blank fucking gunshots to people's fucking faces?
I didn't notice that so much, but I was going to say that I actually did think that they did a pretty decent job in the Pinata Factory in particular.
Yeah, I enjoyed that sequence as well. I enjoyed, like, for a while I was like, okay, this is working out, but there was one move in particular when she dived like into practically a sort of an aisle setting or a shelf basically of pinata materials, right? She dives into it, pins a fucking dude who's on the other side of that aisle, pins that motherfucker against the wall, and shoots him right in the goddamn brain, practically. I mean, that's how close she is to him at that point.
Oh yeah, she had to hold the gun back behind her face.
That was fantastic. That was the first moment where I was like, God damn, like, holy shit. That's surgical. Like, fuck.
I think the first goddamn that I had was actually moments before that when she shot somebody in the foot.
Yeah, that was pretty, and he fell over, and then right in the fucking goddamn face. Yeah.
Like, that's when I was like, oh god, this is feeling like sabotage.
Yeah. I mean, I did really enjoy a lot. But it's weird. There's that, God, this movie, like, so this movie walks that fucking line. So it's deft in the way that it walks that line, because there's part of me that's like, so she crashes a fucking car into this goddamn place that sells weapons and has a license, I guess, to sell military grade weapons. So she does all of that, but she doesn't hide her face? Why? Like, why? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, why isn't she wearing a fucking ski mask to try to hide her identity while she steals all of this like high grade military equipment? That doesn't, it's just asinine. It makes no fucking sense. But I mean, it's necessary for the plot, right? It's necessary for the plot. But it's not like so egregious that it takes you out of the film. You know, that's what's so interesting about this movie to me in particular, that like it will do shit like that. It will fuel the plot just as much as it needs to, with bullshit decisions like that don't make any sense, and still feel like, you know, and still allow you to be inside the movie without being too much of an asshole about it. Like,
I will posit that the reason why you're not bothered by that particular thing is not for the excuse that I would make for it, but because Jennifer Garner's character views herself as a force of nature.
Yeah. It is.
And
yeah.
She is going to get her vengeance no matter what.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing that informs her, like, I'm going to shoot you in the face and then we'll figure it out later.
Yes.
Mentality.
Yes.
And like, a thunderstorm doesn't give a fuck if you see it coming.
Yes, that is, honestly, I feel like that is really insightful, because that's what, and that is what so many action movies should be about. It is it is raw fucking feeling. It is a raw sense of what justice is supposed to be that fuels these fucking things.
I was surprised at the amount of not conflict that happened with, like, it's not until really she goes to Diego's house that she actually gets seriously injured.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of getting a Punisher vibe from it. Tom Jane Punisher.
Yeah.
Because Thomas Jane's Punisher, I fucking love it.
Well,
and other than
Thomas Jane,
other than like the fight with the Ruski, like he really doesn't take a lot of damage in that movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it's such a beautiful movie because he makes
that movie. Well, he sends like an elevator of explosives up to like what the fuck, man? This is.
But he's smart and he's a force of nature in that movie.
Yeah.
And he's cruel and he's vindictive.
Yeah.
He makes Thomas Saint kill his wife. He makes Thomas Saint kill his best friend.
Yeah.
And then there's that ridiculous scene where he walks out of the thing and Thomas Saint's all injured. And he's like, "You killed my son." And he's just standing there like Thomas Jane, fucking badass. And you hear in the background, "No!"
Yeah.
Boom. Both of them.
Yeah.
And just like, holy shit. This guy walks with a wide gait because he needs the extra room.
Yeah. There was a part of me that was wondering if like they would capitalize on the fact that big bad drug dealer had a daughter as well.
A little bit.
I wished a little bit that they had explored that a little bit, because I was a little bit like, is Jennifer Garner, would she be the kind of person who's like, you have a daughter,
spare you
have a fucking daughter, motherfucker, why don't I just put a bullet in her goddamn brain as well? But we didn't really get any of that. She was just kind of fucked up by the fact that he had a daughter, and that basically afforded him the opportunity to escape. I was kind of hoping for that a little bit, just because that's an interesting question. It's like, you took my daughter away from me. How about I fucking take yours away from you, asshole? Is she the kind of person who's capable of that or not? I sort of wish the movie had jumped into that, and it didn't. It didn't at all.
So, Midget Radio, this is my opportunity to inform you that this is a little bit too much of the murderous socialist coming out.
I'm just saying that, like, right? If you want to write the scales, you've got this vengeance attitude. You've got this idea that like somebody has fucked me over, and now I have to fuck them over. What does that actually look like? How do those scales balance? That's character stuff. Like, that's interesting. Like, how do I, as an individual, figure that equation out? I don't know. If somebody took my wife away and I had the opportunity to take their fucking wife away from them, would I do it? I don't know. I probably would, but
so I had kind of the opposite.
Okay.
And I was expecting you, as a decent person, which, I mean, you're a socialist, so that's impossible.
That's true. It's a zero-sum game, so.
There was a part of me that thought that maybe you were going to swing around in a different direction. So, like, when I saw it, and when she turns around and she sees her daughter in Diego's daughter,
yeah,
I thought of season 2, Daredevil, The Punisher, when the crime boss's father or son stands up and said, "You killed my dad."
Yeah.
And just how that devastated John Bernthal.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, oh God, she's not going to wimp
fuck,
out.
this is the kid. Yeah.
I don't want her to wimp out, but at the same time, it's like, you do, like, I thought they were much more likely to go in that direction.
Yeah.
I was really glad.
Well, you want to? I want to see that conflict. That's all I want to see. I want to see how she makes that goddamn decision at the end of the day. Like, is she see that? And that's what kind of frustrates me a little bit about this film. And that's why it's not. That's why I wouldn't rate it higher than I did. So I want to know what she thinks about. Does she actually think it's? Does she think she's serving justice? If she kills his daughter, does she actually think that would be justice? To take from him what he took from her, is that justice or is it not? And so if they had actually considered that, if they had actually confronted her with that decision, this probably would have been like 4.5. Maybe 5-star fucking film for me. But they did, which is fair enough. I don't.
I think that's a tough thing to write.
It is. It absolutely is. It would make it kind of a different movie. But yeah.
But yeah, and I think it probably would have broken up kind of the. Like, this movie has really good pacing.
It does. But it's like at the end, right? When he's about to kill that fucking little girl, right? At the end of the movie, he's about to kill this little girl who's clearly been serving as kind of a scout for Jennifer Garner in along Skid Row. Like that, she's kind of an informant a little bit. She's been lookout basically for her, right? He's about to kill her. And at that point, I was thinking, like, well, what if Jennifer Garner had his daughter? Would she make the same threat? Would she be like, would she do the same thing? If you kill this fucking little girl, who I don't actually have any relationship to other than that she's kind of my lookout and she's sort of a surrogate a little bit for my own flesh and blood daughter. If I kill your fucking daughter, like, I will kill your daughter if you execute this girl. Would she make that bet? That's kind of what I was curious about at that point in the film. Because that would give you a sense a little bit of where Jennifer Garner is. What her actual sense of justice is. Is it pure fucking vengeance? Is it a 1-to-1 kind of ratio? You take my daughter, I take your fucking daughter. I don't care. She's 6 years old. She's had no opportunity to grow up. She's had no opportunity really to differentiate between right and wrong. I will take her fucking from you. I will end her goddamn life. That would be like the real character shit for me. That would escalate this into 4.5, 5-star territory.
I think that's pretty dark, Midget Radio.
Well, it is really. It is very, very dark. So I don't fault the movie for not jumping into that. I absolutely do not fault it for that. But it's like, man, if you really want to fucking weigh the pros and cons, weigh the like good and bad of this, that's kind of where you sort of need to go a little bit. And that's what leaves her. That's the other part. That's the other aspect of her character that then just remains a mystery throughout this film. It's like, I mean, would she take the life of his daughter because he took the life of hers? That's eye for an eye.
Answer to that.
I mean, that's eye for an eye right there.
I think we already get the sense of the answer to that.
I feel like it's no, but and that's because
she took such interest in that guy in the liquor store being a good father.
Yeah.
And as soon as she saw the daughter, like, immediately, I think that threw her off.
Well,
and, like,
it
it's
did,
like
but
that.
But the way it threw her off is what's so frustrating. It's like, oh, she sees her daughter and she's fucked up for a second, and he takes the opportunity, which makes sense, you know. But it's like, did she really have to wrestle with that emotionally, or even just rationally? I don't know. I would love to know. I it would be an interesting question to explore for her as a character. Being able to actually think about it. But
I guess that'll be in Peppermint too.
it won't be. It won't be.
I think in this case, it's not going to make enough money to get a sequel.
It won't be, and I don't really want it to be. But
kind of the other thing, like, I still haven't seen John Wick 1.
You should watch that movie.
I did enjoy this movie more than John Wick 2.
Yeah. I mean, John Wick 2 was was longer, a little crazier, and I mean, this is a perfect film in the sense that like the motivation is apparent. Like the protagonist's motivation is fucking apparent. These pieces of shit took her family away from her, so fuck these pieces of shit. That's it.
It's not a mystery.
Right? Yeah, that's it. John Wick 2, it's like, I don't know, he's supposed to do this thing, but he doesn't want to do this thing. I don't really know why he doesn't want to do this thing, but he doesn't want to do it. And then it's like he has to do the thing, so he sort of half-asses the thing, but not really, and it's a problem, and the guy's a dick. Right? It's just confusing. It's just
we should have put up the spoiler tag since you gave.
Well, I did. John Wick 2, whatever. John Wick 2. The motivations are confusing. But that's true. I think for any sequel, in general, you kind of have to know where they're coming from to have any appreciation for where they are in part 2. You know, that's just.
Except for Terminator 2.
Yeah, except for Terminator 2. Yeah, you generally know. Oh, he wants to protect that kid. Okay.
You know how he knows?
That's it.
Because it was in a line of dialogue.
Yeah, he said it, and he's been doing everything that he can to fulfill that particular mission. So, you know, pretty consistent. Like, I don't have to think about it too much. So.
Yep.
In fact, really, Terminator 1 just confuses it more. You're like, wasn't he an asshole? Wasn't he an asshole? Oh, now he's the good guy. That's weird. That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I hope there's I genuinely do hope that there is, in fact, a Peppermint 2. Because I would like to see it.
I'd like to see more action movies that are at least as competently executed as this.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Just hashtag me too. But just straightforward. But there was no point where I was like, what is Jennifer Garner doing? Why is she doing this?
What is her motivation?
Right? Why is she even I never asked that question. Like, I never had to ask why. Just like, oh yeah, they killed her fucking fan, so yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Like,
Now that said, that is a unifying factor between the trifecta. It's pretty obvious why John McClane.
Yes. Yeah, that is such a huge portion, I think, of the action film in general. The protagonist's motivation has to be as clear as goddamn day. You should not be questioning why they are doing the fucking thing they are doing. At any point for even a split second.
Well, I don't understand why Stanley Goodspeed's so concerned about these rockets.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, because his pregnant wife is in the fucking. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Terminator protects the kid.
Yeah.
Because somebody told him to.
Yeah, it is so simple. Why does Arnold Schwarzenegger keep fighting against this predator? Oh, because the predator keeps killing everyone. Like, that's it. It is so fucking simple. That's where these movies fucking thrive, I think, is just these the simple motivations. They're supposed to be expressions of kind of raw energy. Those are the best action films. I don't want a bunch of goddamn twists. And that's why, that's where a movie like Atomic Blonde kind of falters, It's like
she's a lot of this triple agent.
But she's this and she's that and she's a lesbian. I don't know, maybe she's not. And like I don't understand. Like, she's
She's a trisexual Triple H.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, and she's American. Oops. Why? You know, why complicate it? There's really no reason. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna see another one of those movies either.
We probably won't. But we really probably won't. Which is unfortunate because I liked a lot of the stunt. I liked a lot of the choreography. I liked a lot of the attention to detail. I'm a woman and this is like a 256-pound man. Probably I should attack his knees and his fucking neck. Like, that's great. Yeah, you should. Yes, you should. You should do those things.
Well, that and Charlize Theron is the real deal, right?
Yeah. You need yeah.
She can act. She's attractive.
You do need that. You do need that.
She's completely willing to play a character that isn't attractive.
Yeah.
So she's not.
Yeah.
Like, she's in the craft.
Yeah. She actually is like a good act. Yeah. I mean, you need to have somebody who can actually carry the fucking movie. And Charlize Theron, certainly someone who can do that. As is, I would say Jennifer Garner. For sure as well.
Not in the same league, but yes.
Not the same league, but definitely able to carry the weight. It remains to be seen whether Gina Carano or Ronda Rousey can do the same.
I don't think Gina's gonna do it. Ronda, I don't know. She at least got a few lines.
She got some lines, and she did a good job with those lines. Peter Berg, you son of a bitch. You fucking son of a bitch. She did a good job with what she had. You asshole. And then you took it all away from her.
Well, all I gotta say is Haywire was 7 years ago.
Yeah. And that movie was mostly, like, that would have been such... God. Like, that... You can do that with... You can... I hate... The plot twists and the bullshit in that movie piss me off so fucking much. Because it's like... The only thing detracting from that film is that you do not really understand why the fight scenes are breaking out when they do. Like... That is what is so obnoxious about it. Like, I don't know why Channing Tatum is attacking Gina Carano right now. I don't know why he just broke a coffee pot across her fucking face. I don't understand why that happened. But the fight that ensued thereafter was great. I don't know why fucking Magneto decided to chokehold Gina Carano in the middle of this movie when they were in the hotel room. I don't understand why that happened. But the fight that ensued was great. Like, tell me why things are happening. Like,
so I don't know. I think the problem is,
God,
that movie was kind of obnoxious in the fact that, like, if you look at it, Gina Carano, the star of the movie, was probably, I would hope, the least well compensated person.
Yes, and in fact, the most consistent, probably.
Well, you have Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
You got Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
You got Michael Douglas. Fassbender's in it. Antonio Banderas is in it, and Bill Paxton.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, what?
How do you...
What?
God damn it. It is so fucking... I hate that movie. That's such a weird movie because I hate it as much as I love it. Like, I love the fact that Soderbergh was like, let's sit on Gina Carano running through an alley for, like, I don't know, a minute. Let's just fucking sit. Let's just sit on her while she's fucking running her ass off through this goddamn alleyway. Because that's just who she is.
Scene
God damn it. It's gorgeous. It is just elegant, but it's like the way the script is structured is so fucking frustrating that it doesn't need to be. It's like it deliberately obfuscates the plot itself. And there's no reason to do that. And then at the end of the movie, you get Ewan McGregor explaining why everything fucking happened on a goddamn beach of all places. And it's like, why? Why? None of the intrigue that you wanted to create actually exists. It's just a bunch of fucking meaningless bullshit.
Well, that's
until
that's
the end of the
exactly
movie.
what I was talking about. Like in this movie that we were talking about, Peppermint. Like, if you look back at it, it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
In movies like Haywire and so many others, fucking Looper, which is just
garbage.
I mean, it's like Time Cop, but
Yeah.
Time Cop's like 10,000 times better.
Yes, at least as much.
But like so many times they just like we're going to explain to you what just happened.
Yeah.
You look back at it and you're like, nope,
Nope.
doesn't work.
And also,
it doesn't work.
I don't care.
Like I get you watch The Sixth Sense again. Sure.
Right.
Fine. He never talks to another person other than the kid.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Great.
That was very clever. Thank you very much.
Yes. Great.
So I don't know. I
But
feel
it's
like
like you have a character to connect with. Like that's the problem with like The Sixth Sense works because you have Haley Joel Osment. Like you have a character. You have somebody to connect with there. You don't know if he's fucking crazy or what, but it's like he's a fucking person. I understand where he's coming from, and I understand why he's doing the things he does. But movies like the Gina Carano film we were just talking about, Haywire, right? You don't know. You don't fucking know why she's doing anything in the movie because it deliberately obfuscates that so that you can get to the end and Ewan McGregor can explain it to you and you can be like, oh, fucking great. Like, whatever. Like, it's just stupid. You have to have, as an audience member, you have to have someone to connect with. Otherwise, it's just horseshit. It's just horseshit until you get to the end of the movie and you're like, oh, great, that makes sense. I don't fucking care anyway. Because who gives a shit? Like, who fucking cares? There's no person to actually connect with. Gina Carano in that film is a shell of a person who is just controlled by the plot. That's all there is. And that's why it sucks. Like, there's so many great things about Haywire. I don't want to, like, there really are some just some phenomenal sequences. Just some phenomenal sequences that are so well portrayed by Steven Soderbergh as a director, but that the script just absolutely gets in the way of, honestly. I mean, it just ruins. I love watching Gina Carano run down an alley to go get the bad guy. You take as long as you need to. Or my God, I mean, just the scene, like some of his decision making, that she falls off of a ledge, hits the fucking floor, and has to lay there and just breathe and just catch her fucking breath in order to be able to get up again. An absolutely beautiful fucking scene. But when you don't supply a character behind that, you end up with kind of a crappy and frustrating movie, you know? Because so much of her motivation is so obfuscated in that kind of film, it just ruins those kind of scenes, as brilliant as they are on their on the face of it. Just watching her having to land on her fucking back on the pavement and catch her breath again. This badass, this God damn it, this warrior have to catch her breath for a little while. It's just beautiful to watch. But because you don't have a sense of her, you don't have a sense of her as a character, you know, it's just not as powerful as it could have been with a more straightforward and more streamlined fucking plot. Give me a character that I can understand and connect with, and then let me feel how hard it is for that character to accomplish their stated task. That's a brilliant action movie at the end of the day. That's a brilliant fucking film at the end of the day. Like, I need to know who they are, why they want to do what they want to do, and I want to feel how hard it is for them to do what they want to do, what they believe so strongly in. That's the perfect action film. They need to be a human. They need to have an almost impossible task to have to accomplish, and then they have to fucking accomplish it. And I want to be there to experience how hard it is for them to do that particular thing.
I'm sorry, I zoned out there for a bit.
You should have, because it's so full of bullet. I'm like, maybe 1/5 to 3/4 of the way through this brand new bottle.
Well, good for you, buddy. No,
Right?
I was paying attention. I was also like watching like my input, as it's like, you have not said anything for like 3 minutes.
How much of it was like was just blasting past the 0 dB mark for digital recordings? Just, this is flatlined.
Pretty much, podcast is dead.
I love it.
I don't know. I think I don't think that you're wrong, though. I did want to interrupt you at several points.
Sure.
About like, we're not talking about that movie right now.
That is true. I think we watched Peppermint, if I remember correctly. But yeah.
Peppermint, solid movie.
Yeah.
I hope it does well enough. From the looks of it, it's not. So.
No, and it is really sad. Yeah, it is really sad. I haven't even really read any of the negative reviews. I don't know what they would even be based on. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, like, you know, fuck the negative reviews. It really only matters how much money it actually makes it, you know, whether they make a sequel or not. But
I'm going to show up at work. I'm going to tell the people that I work with that I saw the movie and that I liked it.
Yeah. Well, like every horror movie, apparently in the world, it seems like only gets shitty reviews, and they just keep generating sequel after sequel. So I'm not sure if that's any indication, but
no, I was looking at the box office. The estimated box office for the first weekend is 13 million, which is not super. It's a $25 million film, so it probably needs to make at least 37 before it breaks even.
Okay.
So
hopefully it gets there.
I mean, we'll see.
It's absolutely worth seeing. It's perfectly entertaining. From start to finish.
It's an hour and a half that you will not notice.
Absolutely not. Yeah, and it is nice that they kept a reasonable length on the runtime.
I guess it's an hour and 40 minutes, whatever. Yeah. Doesn't matter. You can walk out during the credits.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was pretty quick. I showed up at noon and I was out by 2. So yeah.
Even with the Ruth Bader Ginsburg movie.
Can't say that about a fucking Marvel movie. So
I almost laughed when I saw, what is your name, young lady?
Ruth
Bader Ginsburg.
I love it. I love it. Man, fuck, I really wish I would have been around for the previews for now. 'Cause all I've been seeing is that goddamn Jennifer Lopez. I'm a poor lady, and then I do something, and now I'm not a poor lady. What a surprise.
Oh, this is an actual movie that is coming out?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but that's literally the preview. My name is Jennifer Lopez. I am a poor lady. I do this thing. It makes me like a successful lady. And credits. I don't know. That's the credits. Then the credits roll. You're like, oh, wow. Jennifer Lopez can do it. Then I guess I can.
Surely you can.
We are such assholes.
I mean, it makes sense. Jennifer Lopez isn't that talented.
Nope, man, goddamn. Out of Sight, though. What a fantastic fucking film. such a fantastic performance for she is one of the most disappointing people that I have ever encountered in my life, because after I saw her in Out of Sight, I was like, my God, you're amazing. This was a beautiful performance that you had turned in for this film. And I'm so excited to see where you go from here. I mean, you were a fly girl on In Living Color, and then you did this movie and you did such a great job. And then I followed your career and was like, Jenny from the Block? What is this garbage? Like, what are you doing? I mean, no shit. I don't mean to cast any shade on Jennifer Lopez. Absolutely a good actress and a fantastic performance in Out of Sight. I cannot take that away from her. But the career trajectory from Out of Sight to the present day has left me, Midget Radio, disappointed, to say the least. You know, what are you gonna do? Yeah. What are you gonna do? Karen Sisco, man. I want to own a Glock, I want to own a Sig Sauer because of her performance in Out of Sight. That's the only reason. I just want a Sig because Karen Sisco in Out of Sight had a Sig. That's it.
Okay.
That's how much I liked her character. That's how much I liked Karen Sisco in fucking Out of Sight, man.
I liked The Cell. It was a good movie.
It was
an interesting.
It was a problematic film that obviously definitely interesting in the lion's share, but a problematic film. But man, her performance.
Let's get this show back on track.
Okay.
Midget Radio, do you have anything else to say about this movie?
I don't. I like Peppermint. I think that generally speaking, if you like action films in general, you should absolutely go see Peppermint. Absolutely.
I can agree with all those words.
Fantastic.
Anyway, so that has been episode number 64 of the Wednesday Night Gentleman Multimedia Empire official podcast. Yes, I did cut you off so I could end the show.
Good thinking.
Please give us a like if you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe to our channel. You can find us on BitChute. You can find us on Podbeam. You can find us on Twitter, where we are at WNG_MME_OBC, or head on over to Facebook until we get banned, where we are. That would be a fucking blessing, because I could show my countdown.
Oh, I would be really excited.
Where we are simply the Wednesday Night Gentlemen. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will see you on episode number 65 of the Wednesday Night Gentleman Multimedia Empire official podcast. Bye-bye.